This defines everything for the Milwaukee Brewers, as the estimated return date for Brandon Woodruff in this postseason has been revealed, and Matt Arnold has spoken out on the move, and also what is for the future of Brandon Woodruff. We're going to be breaking that down, as well as going over more reports coming out about Jacob Misiorowski, not just the plan for him being in the bullpen now, but also what this means going forward with the absence of some of the Brewers' top pitchers. We're going to be breaking it all down here in this video, as well as a little kind of awesome thing from Pat Murphy here at the end of this video, so be sure to stick around for that. Before we do jump into this video, though, I ask you one favor, and that's if you haven't already, hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We have a lot of Brewers news coming throughout the postseason and the offseason, and let's hope this offseason comes a lot longer than where we currently are, and let's hope we still get to as far as we can in this postseason. I'm only breaking these videos and these games down daily. You won't want to miss it all right here on the channel. But let's jump straight into this, because going into today, of course, we had an update on Brandon Woodruff. We've been waiting for a major update from Pat Murphy and Brandon Woodruff in specific for a few days now, as it was reported that there was going to be an update dropping a couple days. Did not happen until today. Now, going into it right now, Todd Rosiak put this out. Brandon Woodruff is out for the series with a lat injury, says Pat Murphy. The Brewers are not ruling him out for the NLCS or the World Series, which is a very good sign. And, of course, the good news is the shoulder is 100% fine, which was really the point of concern for a few people there, and a lot of people wondering if that could have been the case. If so, that would certainly have not been good. Of course, returning from Tommy John surgery and that the shoulder surgery that he did have last year. Now, this is obviously, like I said, sucks for the NLDS, but very good that the return is possible for the NLCS and the World Series, as that will add another possibility to another, addition to the roster at this point now. But this does leave us without another top pitcher, and Brandon Woodruff this year has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's nothing that we could have said better about him this year, returning a 7-2 record and just being as dominant as he could have been. You see how much red there is here on all of these charts, and like we mentioned, although he don't throw the fastest, his stuff is nasty. He's great against every pitcher, every hitter that you could possibly face. And Brandon Woodruff is a guy you want for your postseason. At 32 years old, being a veteran of this team, someone who this team has meant so much to not just the city and the state and the team, but how much this team means to him as well. It's obviously a huge loss, but let's just hope we get to the NLCS, and this team now is another reason to fight to get to the NLCS even more, to get Brandon Woodruff back here. But going into this and now going on the plan of whatever happens next for this team and Brandon Woodruff, this is what he had to say. He said, "It meant the world to know he is able to pitch again in this uniform, and as far as the future, I don't know what that will entail." But from everything we've seen from not just him, but also from Matt Arnold, which we're going to jump into that quote here in a moment, it certainly seems like the option for him to return is always going to be there. Now, going into what Brandon Woodruff had to say on this, he says, "The longer you keep going, the better the chance. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we get to it there. As far as I know right now, I'm focused on going in and taking care of myself, getting my treatment, and doing all the necessary things I need to do to give myself a chance." And he also still labeled himself as day-to-day, because this is not necessarily something that, he can come in and kind of confirm at this point right now. It still is something that he may be able to pitch, but right now, at this point in Game 1, it wouldn't be able to. So send him out, let him get healthy for the NLCS and World Series so that he will have the option to pitch there, be that pitcher that, will be the veteran option here for this team, because, as we've mentioned, Quinn Priester, Freddy Peralta, Jacob Misiorowski, the possible starters. Of course, Misiorowski is in the bullpen, and we're going to jump into a little bit about what this injury has to do with him here in a few moments, but it will be awesome if we could get Brandon Woodruff back here for the NLCS and World Series. He deserves it, and I think the city would so be excited to have him come back here and be able to pitch. But one more thing before we do, and of course this comes from Matt Arnold on the topic of Brandon Woodruff. He says, "Obviously, when you talk to somebody you meant as much to our franchise as Brandon Woodruff, you want to see see that he's all the way through. So certainly, there's an opportunity for him to potentially come back. We just don't know what that is. It's day to day. What we do know is Woody has a tremendous competitor, and he wants to be a big part of it, and going to continue to work to be a part of this. And even if he's not doing it on the field, he's going to do it in the clubhouse for sure." So, of course, Brandon Woodruff will be here. There's no doubt about that. And having him around this organization still with the pitchers, especially a lot of these younger guys, it will be very positive. And getting him in this rotation once again is the big goal for this Brewers team. But I think that the way that Matt Arnold worded this and kind of the way he spoke about this, he's very much open to Brandon Woodruff coming back to this team, as he is on an expiring contract. And this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about, of course, a lot over this offseason, seeing what the plan is there, especially on this rotation, because as of right now, Brandon Woodruff, in my book, I would love to see him come back to this team. But on this topic of the pitching, and of course, Brandon Woodruff being out is a big loss on this rotation, which means that the bullpen is going to be getting quite a bit more activity. And Adam McCallum put this on Twitter today. Matt Arnold and Misiorowski's NLDS roster status and role. We know he's in the bullpen, but this is what Matt Arnold said. I think what we're looking at in Game 1 is Freddy, and then beyond that, it's pretty much all hands on deck, you know? I think Miz will certainly be a part of that. So it seems like although Jacob Misiorowski will be in the bullpen, there's going to be a lot of focus on him. They're going to be having their top guys going in. With Freddy Peralta starting Game 1, I can almost guarantee we'll see Peralta in the bullpen in Game 2, whether or not they use him. Having him as an option there is going to be a very integral piece of this team, and whether or not we do see the plan that this Brewers team has gone with Pat Murphy and having the starter go twice around the order, having the bullpen come in about an inning per pitcher, but the fact that Misiorowski's in there is a starter, and, have Quinn Priester perhaps in there after his start, have, Freddy Peralta, have maybe Robert Gasser, Logan Henderson, depending on tomorrow morning who this roster has on this list. We're going to see a lot of hands in the bullpen and ready to go at whatever moment this team is bringing up to be. So with this Cubs game, or this Cubs series, I guess we should say, we know what we're expecting, we know what we're up against, and the fact that this team has had such a big experience so far against the Cubs, it's going to be a very interesting thing to see how they really adjust to what they've seen here in with the Cubs this season and in their games. Now, this is what I'm talking about, Pat Murphy as well. You see the tattoo that he has. Another thing that this team is playing for, of course, Bob Uecker. This is what he had a tattoo of, the badge they've been playing with on their jerseys. Pat Murphy had that tattooed on him. That is absolutely fantastic. And this team has that still in mind, and they're going to be doing everything they can to win for Bob. And this is obviously something that this whole team, organization, city, fan base has been thinking of this year, and it's been a big part of how this Brewers team has really become so far here throughout this season. So I just wanted to pull that up as well. But I do have one more thing before we finish the video off regarding Jacob Misiorowski. And this comes from Jim Henderson, the associate pitching coach. And this is what he had to say. I think that we need that. This is, of course, talking about Jacob Misiorowski in the bullpen. We lost Shelby Miller to an elbow injury, and we don't have a ton of right-handed options. I think he could pitch an important situation if you need a punch-out in an important situation. 103 miles an hour is going to play. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that you're seeing Misiorowski in the bullpen with this gas going to be there, we saw how integral that was in this Yankees series. For those who watched, you saw how good Cam Schlittler was here in his 8 innings. He was throwing gas up until he got taken out. So the fact that you're having this rotation, the Brewers have moved them to the bullpen, have Misiorowski in the bullpen, have the option to start if needed. It just gives them kind of a Swiss Army knife here. And, of course, you have to trust him. That's no doubt in my mind that this team is ready to go for him. They're going to trust him when out there. Even though his last games haven't necessarily been the best, he will be a big part of this rotation and bullpen, depending on where he is needed. And as he said, he's ready to go wherever. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about this stuff here in today's video. Of course, Brandon Woodruff would be good to have him back in the NLCS at earliest. We know this team is a great opportunity getting there. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't want to be negative, but this team has a heavy challenge ahead of them against the Cubs, but without a doubt in my mind, this team is able to do it. So let me know what you think about that, as well as the kind of update regarding Jacob Misiorowski from Matt Arnold here in the comments below. But that's all I got in this one. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.